Oh, hey, Max. The opening credits are rolling. You know, the cemetery, it's nice and ghoulish. It's nice of you to stop by. Hope the sound's okay. The latent image. How you doing, Max? I love that tune over the opening credits. It's probably my favorite bit of music from the original Night of the Living Dead. It promises, it sets the mood so well. And apparently that was a library music produced by Russell Striner. Oh, nice. Oh, it's been years since I played any sort of game. I had to sacrifice games and just stuck with movies and books and music. To be honest with you, I'm really, really tired, so I'm just settling here in a chair and trying a bit of therapy, just getting some Judge Romero goodness into my eyeballs. I need something to heal me. It's been a long day. Hi, the collector dude. It's nice of you to stop by. Yeah, so they're just pulling up at the grave. No, I'm watching the black and white, the original, the 1968 one. I debated whether to watch the colorized version, which I'm fond of, or watch the original. Uh, Guys, I'm just streaming off YouTube. I don't even have any Criterion Blu-rays near me right now. I'm 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 here in Germany, and out here they just also put out the UHD because Studio Canal has the rights to the original. Actually, well, has the rights. I mean, they have the master now. I'm not sure who has the rights. It's still somewhat in the public domain, I believe, and it's a beautiful edition. I'm not sure how it differs from the Criterion. Probably the basic extras are the same. I think there is that Night of the Anubis thing, which was also on the 4K mastered standard Blu-ray. Yeah, a bit of YouTubing. I love his specs. I think it's Russell Striner, right, who plays Johnny. He has those gloves, his slick back hair, and those specs. It's an amazing image. You think I'd want to blow a sundae on a scene like this? He says. Oh man, we still remember. I don't. I don't really have an opinion of this movie, like a steady opinion. Every time I watch it, it wakes sort of different emotion in me, and they can be quite opposite emotions. Right now, I'm loving it, but there are also times when I find this film a little bit too sober, if you know what I mean. Like it's a bit too close on the documentary side, I find. But right now, it really works for me. I'm loving it. And some of the shots, it's just really well put together. Oh man. Well, I used to play games when it was like a new and exciting thing for me when I got my first, PC, but that's going back some years now. So I had to, make that choice, and I stuck with books, music, and le cinéma. There it is. I'm trying to remember the first time I saw this movie. I mean, that was on tape, and the quality wasn't brilliant, and I kept waiting for stuff to happen, and waiting and waiting. And yeah, my first experience was a little bit. Yeah, I wasn't so impressed because the movie did show its age, I thought. I saw it after Day of the Dead, so obviously the comparison in terms of, effects and things wasn't really in this movie's favor. But nowadays, when I watch Night of the Living Dead, which I do often because it's the kind of movie, it's like a pacifier, it just really calms me down. It's the one I go back to often. I find the editing is so good. Like there is tons of shots in this movie, and they're put together really well. Even George Romero's more expensive movies he made like in the mid 90s, like where there was obviously more crew and everything, they don't necessarily have such sharp editing as this one does, I find. Hey, I mean, Brains for Church. Oh, they're coming to get you, Barbara. Right, Max. Well, yeah, you better get some rest. Thanks a lot for stopping by. And yes, dreams. I'm all done working for today, so I'm just chilling now. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. The first zombie is so damn fast and really tough. The first zombie already breaks lots of rules. Ugh. Oh, hi there, Ralph. I don't think you watch movies very often. If you watch a movie once, I think then you just put it on your list and move on, right? I don't think you really find the time to revisit your favorite films because you're like always moving on to the next one, and onto the next one. Is that right? And now he's gonna smash the window with a brick. Such a good scene. Yeah. God, he's a nasty ghoul. All right. Cool. All right. Well, I can't get enough of Night of the Living Dead. It's just such a. It's like one of those movies which are like pure cinema, I find. It's representative of the genre. There is the documentary, Document of the Dead, where they are singing this movie praise really well at the beginning, like outlining like how good George Romero's mise en scène is and everything. Dun-dun. I seem to be loving this library music a lot more this time around. Du-du-du-du-du-du. Da, 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 da. Oh my god, Zombie 2 I've seen like so many times, you don't want to know. Like really lots of times. Like all of George Romero films put together, I've probably still seen just Zombie 2 more times than that. Because that movie is really, yeah, it's quite special. Now she's alone in that farmhouse. Well, I haven't checked my mail yet. I'll have to see. I'll let you know. I've got mail apparently. Thanks, Ralph. It's always nice. I love the silent passages. There is no dialogue, just one character, but it's so cinematic. There's just so much exploration going on. This movie brings so many memories. Before I ever saw Night of the Living Dead, I actually read the book first. John A. Russo did like a novel thing of the script, and I remember it really freaked me out as a kid. And the final sentence was something like about them washing their hands in like pure alcohol, but the stench of death was still clinging onto them, something like that. And that just stuck with me. I remember that book. So before I saw the movie, I was fantasizing about this because just reading it was like reading the script. Now she's checking the zombies out of the window, so there is two of them now, and it's night. It kind of switches to nighttime. Three zombies now. Damn it. But she's got a knife, so she's doing good. Don't go upstairs. No. Ah. Never go upstairs. Night of Total Terror. That was the trailer, wasn't it? Well, Gary Cooper is telling them to go to the basement, but they prefer to stick to upstairs, and yeah, that's the tendency. Oh, there is Ben. Oh, there is a good actor. Ralph, have you ever seen the other movie Dwayne Jones was in, the vampire film? It's the title escapes me. You know the one where he plays like a professor who's like stabbed with a ritual dagger? Ganja and Hess, I think. Oh man, look at that telephone. Whoa, now there's Yeah, that's right. I'm in a cult. You're very welcome. Thank you for exactly. I've been struggling to remember the title. Now that film has some heavy atmosphere. I think that's the other movie people know Dwayne Johnson from because I don't think he's had that many chances to like shine. He's really good in both. He plays very different characters in those two movies. Conjuring has looks even more low budget than Night of the Living Dead. That one really looks like a student film half the time with like real heavy grain, and there is just the montage. Like some of the editing is so odd, like the rhythm is so odd that it makes you think like, okay, this is like pure art house. It's quite a challenging movie, but I've seen it at least twice, I think. Not all the way through though, but I tried watching it at least twice. Oh damn, yeah, the big C, eh? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I really don't know. He could have done so much more. He really could. He's got an amazing presence, and yeah, he somehow was able to break out of the cliches. I think. Like he's one of those actors, Dwayne Jones, and he's like a bit like Jeremy Irons. I find. I mean, in the sense that they both are like very intelligent and they can't hide it really. So they're better at those kind of roles where it's somebody like I don't know a professor or somebody like an academic, because they just have that something about them. And then there are other actors who are not really good at projecting that studious temperament at all. Like I remember Tim Robbins in what's that movie where he's like dead in Vietnam. Like he's supposed to be like also like have a PhD, and he just doesn't really look at Jacob's Ladder. Thanks, yeah. Am I brilliant with remembering titles? Oh, what's going on now? Oh, violence. Now there is some things about Night of the Living Dead which I still Uh, don't know what to make of them. Like soon there is that scene coming up. Like Barbara is alone with this corpse in the house, and she looks at the corpse and the body like blinks, and it's so blatant. I personally don't believe that was like an editing mistake. I think that was done on purpose, like she's kind of hallucinating or something. But I've never read the script, so I cannot be 100% sure. Such a good movie. And that's probably the scariest zombie in the movie. This one, Ben is gonna like whack him. Oh, get the crowbar, man! Well, that's coming up now. So there is that zombie inside the farmhouse, and he's gonna go for the crowbar and go direct, like plant it in the middle of his like cranium, and then he runs away, and Barbara is left with the body, and she watches the body, and it blinks. Like in Jean Rollin movies, pretty much in every of his movies, like corpses always blink. That's something like he never really bothered too much about. But I think in this one, that's left in on purpose because that was I think that was from her perspective, like her going a bit nuts. That's one of my favorite shots when he whacks the zombie and then the camera kind of pulls away and reveals there are more ghouls coming out through the night, and that's such a good shot and just probably handheld. It's a really well put together movie. There it comes, the blinking corpse. There is actually a zoom in, and then the corpse looks at the camera briefly. I'd like to hear somebody's opinion on that. Ta-da! He's gonna light some fires now to keep them away. It always impresses me when such blatantly cheap movies actually feature some background players set on fire, even briefly. However briefly, I always find that very courageous and like an attempt to like show production value. And I think there is a couple of burning stuntmen in this one. Now this is the sad part. They're like together but alone because like she's not really responsive. I always find this a very downbeat part. Like this is where they could have just joined forces and that would have been a happy end, you know. But no way. So this is where the remake goes in a very different direction than the Tom Savini movie. I've seen this movie colorized. I've seen it dubbed into Turkish. I've seen it in German, which features like different library music for whatever reason. Yeah, I love the '90s remake. I that was one of the first movies when I was like a kid, and there were those mags, and I saw that still. I think it's like Bill Moseley at the cemetery wrestling with the zombie with like white eyes, and I found that so disgusting and creepy. I I wasn't a horror fan yet. I just remember thinking, "Ooh, ugly," and then years later, I got to check it out, and it's such a dynamic movie, and it's one of the best '90s, movies when Romero wasn't really making films, or at least not as much. Then at least Tom Savini got a shot at that, and he did a real good job. Yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah, that was I think the first movie I ever saw him in because I'm not so knowledgeable. Well, maybe the first one was actually House of Thousand Corpses, and then there was the Night remake, and eventually I discovered obviously Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, where he obviously does, I think, owe his career to that performance. Awesome performance. Menahem Golan was involved with the color remake. That's always cracked me up. Like when he split up from Canon, from his cousin, he put some money into the Night of the Living Dead remake. It always cheers me up to see that name. He's been involved in some crazy movies. Yeah, Golden Times, Cyborg, Life Force, lots of movies. Yeah, oh my god, the Apple. I mean, they shot this just down the road from where I live. I mean, last time I went there was 3 weeks ago. Like the exterior shots supposedly taking place in New York City. That's just here on the outskirts of Berlin. At this, it's hilarious because you actually see like German flags for some reason flying and supposedly in New York, which is weird. Yeah, that's a hilarious film. We just don't have crazy companies like this anymore. It's just really like bullshit producers and things who it's different times now. So they're nailing the windows shut now. Very important. Keep the ghouls out. Yeah, this room looks pretty secure. I don't really quite remember what happens at the end of the Color remake. I think it's more of a happy end, but I think they were dangling from trees. But that's all I remember. I really ought to rewatch it. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Patricia Tallman, right? She is tough in that film. It was like a moving bonfire. Yeah, it's a, it's a great monologue. Oh, is she? Wow, she's very convincing in the action scenes. See, see, the ocean. I don't even know what it is. Dante Tomaselli. Again, that name rings some bells, but I'm not sure. Hmm. I'm just choking at your comments. Horror and desecration. Whoa. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, now that rings some bells. Yeah. He's done those kind of. Yeah, now I know. I've read some reviews. I don't think I've seen any of his stuff, but I definitely read reviews. Now it's Barbara's monologue. They're kind of telling each other the story of their lives, taking their time there, really. And they're both really good. Why don't you just keep calm? It's a highly quotable movie. I wonder if this new 4K remastered version is it still bearing no copyright? Is it still like public domain? I think all the stuff Romero did up to Dawn is like really fertile. I mean, they're not all equal entertaining movies, but there's just so much there. He really was, you know, putting a lot of his, I don't know, his personal stuff into those movies. Especially like Season of the Witch. I mean, that's not a very entertaining film, but there is so much stuff there. It's really worth a look. Oh, Martin, I'm still waiting for. I think there is Second Sight announcement. That's been like over a year now. They said around the same time when the Dawn box was announced. They said, "Oh, Martin is coming." It's still not there. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was probably the 30th anniversary. Probably John Russo did that, where he added a bunch of stuff. I've never seen that version yet, but yeah, you know, there is still time. Italian audio with Goblin soundtrack. Well, but the thing with the soundtrack is, I think it's just that you can get that on CD because that wasn't specifically for the movie. So, I mean, I know there is an Italian DVD of that version of Martin, the one you're talking about, but I've only ever seen just the normal cut. When they're talking about the discovery of that long black and white negative, which we're never going to see probably, they found it, but they won't let us see it. Well, I don't mind no subs. I like the sound of Italian. It's one of those languages which, I mean, just listening to it, it just sounds good to my ears. Very melodic. The Italian title was Vampire, wasn't it? They actually retitled Martin to like Vampire was like a Y. I think there is actually two different colorized versions of this one. I remember I went to a car boot sale and I got me one where zombies were really like salad green. They were like really, And his jumper was was in like canary yellow, or maybe I can't remember. Something. It was like a really intense color. The sudden epidemic of murder. Now he's boarded up everything now. Yeah, have a cigarette. Yeah. I think he's about to find the gun. That's right. All right, John Russo. Well, I think he did. Yeah, the greatest thing he's done was probably his involvement with Return of the Living Dead. After this one, obviously, he was a little down. Huh. Did he have anything to do with the Ghoul movie, where Bill Hinzman was like directing and starring as the same zombie? Did John Russo have a hand at that? Yeah, he's trying to get through to Barbara, and she's just not responsive. I tried watching this Ghoul movie, or whatever the alternative title was, but that one is really, really hammy. I mean, just I don't know. They could have taken it a bit more earnestly. They would have probably made a bunch more money with that one. But I know it has its fans, so zombie movies always have an audience. Always, always, always. I also like that. early Romero movies were like, I think the composition was like more full screen, like Academy ratio. Whether that was intentional or just because that's the cameras they had, but those movies have a different kind of look to them. I wasn't sure, when Land of the Dead came out, because that was more like, I think, scope. I wasn't sure that was such a wise move to go for like an epic feel for that movie, because somehow I felt it was a bit out of step with the other movies in the series up to that point anyway. Awful. Well, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they kill. That's a good one. Did he in the 80s? I wonder. He might have done. I think that's the only scope movie of his I can think of is Land of the Dead, and maybe what he did afterwards, those follow up movies. I think the last one, Survival, was also kind of like that. Cooper, the cellar is the safest place. No, no way, Monkey Shines. I've seen that recently. No, that's not scope. That's a cool movie though. I like that one a lot. That's a great film. I really wish I had it in my collection. I would have watched it probably tonight, but I don't have it. Lovely film. With Carpenter, it's easy. I think he only did one movie which isn't in scope, which wasn't a TV movie. With Romero, I think he made his way like through all the possible aspect ratios. Have you seen this amusement park movie with Lincoln Mazel? The cellar's the safest place. You're insane. Well, the last film that's recently been released by the George Romero Foundation, the one which is about 40 minutes long. It's like shot on 16 mil. It looks like Martin from the visual style, but it's a bit less personal. I think it was like a job for hire. I mean, I watched it because I love Romero. I love those when those kind of movies pop up. But yeah, I thought the sound was a bit problematic. So yeah. It's okay. It's worth a look if you can just stream it, find it on YouTube or something. But I mean, I wasn't too convinced by its validity as like the Lost Romero, because I mean, yeah, it was not available, but like it's like an industrial movie. Yeah, I love Always Vanilla. I used to have that on YouTube before all the copyright filters came. I used to have Always Vanilla on my channel actually illegally, but I had to take it down. Now, obviously, it's available in a good. There is like they remastered it and found it back then. I just found some crappy rip and I was like sharing it around a lot. That's like a period movie. I mean, I've seen it like less than a month ago for the last time, and that was real good dialogues, really good vignettes. I mean, a good one. Yeah, yeah, I have a lot of fondness for that one. Actually, I've never met anybody who really hated it. I watched it with friends and they liked it as well. And it's just a, you know, yeah, it's a period movie. Oh, there's gunshots. Try and kill them. There's some great wide angle shots of the zombie hands grabbing at the gun. It almost looks 3D. Great stuff. Ver- And this is where the movie kind of gets back into the action mode a little bit more, because lots more zombies show up. Yeah, Ray Lane, he's so impressive. I mean, yeah, Season of the Witch. I can't believe they got the song, the Donovan song, and actually got away with it in the re-release now that it's still available, that they didn't have to remove it for copyright reasons. That's a great film. I think it's a better one than the amusement park, because the amusement park is supposed to be anti-ageism, and in a way, Season of the Witch does the same thing, but a lot more convincingly and from the heart, because it was like a personal project, and it deals also like from the perspective like a downtrodden wife and everything, which I think back at the time it was an extremely rare example of that. It was like almost like a Cassavetes movie, wasn't it? I mean, I've got it. I watched it a lot. That's true, yeah. Transgressive for sure. Yeah. I mean, for that vintage, George Romero was surely breaking lots of rules. Now they're debating, are they going to stay up or go down to the cellar, the basement. I think There Is Always Vanilla actually features more likable characters than even Night of the Living Dead does, because they're not bickering as much as they do in this movie. I mean, they're miserable in their own way, but, you know, they're easy to warm up to. Whereas here, everybody's a little bit like, there is this young couple, right? Like, what's her name? Ridley? Like, the one who's also in Always Vanilla. And they're together and, like, they're young and cute, but I don't know. They're a bit bland. I don't think they're written. I don't think they're meant to be like very likable. Well, everybody wants to have sex for sure. In Martin, there is also that tension, because when he's like gardening and helping around the house for that lady, there is like his yeah, there is always that kind of age gap thing. Which, if you look at Romero's most interesting couples, I think there is always like a massive gap. Like in Day of the Dead, there is like, I think, what was his name, Miguel, like the guy who's like breaking down all the time, like in tears, and like the girl is quite resilient and stoic. So there is always like a huge discrepancy there. And the same also if you look at Dawn, like Steven, the flyboy dude, he starts out nice and kind of self, a bit more like trying to be macho, but then this story wears him down a lot. And obviously Martin is a great example because he's like such a, I can't figure Martin out, to be honest with you. He's got a very oh, who's there? Is it you, Danny? Hi. I'm just in the middle of watching the classic Night of the Living Dead. Nice of you to stop by. How you doing? So yeah, I was just saying how Romero likes to put like unequal couples there to make it interesting. Like Monkey Shines, the dude is like really reliant. Like he can't look after himself anymore. So there is that, and Celia's got the girlfriend and everything. So there are lots of those. I think it's a bit of a thread you can trace. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Well, I don't go live as often as I'd like to, but yeah, here I am, and I'm just watching me some Ramiro. I think the little zombie girl is really one of the most memorable ghouls. I mean, at this point, she's still not turned yet, but I think when she does, she's pretty damn unforgettable. It's so cool to see people stop by and say hi. I mean, wow. Yeah, well, Day of the Dead. I mean, the first time I saw Day of the Dead, I didn't know that it was cut. I had it on tape, and there was some violence, but not all of it. And I just thought, oh, this is intentional. I just thought Romero was doing like a real philosophical movie with all the monologues, like, oh, we've grown too big for our britches and all that. But then there was almost no gore in the finale. Like when Rhodes was eaten, that was like really trimmed. And for many years, I was like, okay, well, it's a kind of arty zombie movie. And then obviously I saw the uncut one day. I was like, oh my god, because that was like before there was Google or anything, so I just had no way of knowing. See, well, you're making me want to just grab that remake and give it a nice rewatch. I might do that. I think it's also on YouTube right now, but yeah, it might have to be some other time. I don't think I could do back to back. Choking them, yeah. Well, yeah. Basically, I think all of that screaming and things like that was completely cut. They basically kind of. I remember it was like he was like hanging, clutching to the door frame, and then Bob shoots him, and then he goes, "Ugh!" And then all around it was all completely cut. So I just always thought he was just kind of shot to death or something. It was yeah, it was extremely cut. Like yeah, you didn't see any of that famous Savini gore. There was like one or two moments they left in, but they were also like trimmed. But I think a good movie works even if you trim a bit of the gore. This is like the difference between like fun trash movies where if you take all the rough stuff out, then the movie completely loses its reason to be. Whereas with Day of the Dead, I still love the music. I love that underground setting, which was like it's poetic. It's probably my favorite setting of the three. I like it. It's more atmospheric than the mall, and it's less dire than this farmhouse in the original movie. And they did a lot with it, and I'm happy that they didn't go epic and have those. Like the original script was like huge for Day, and I like that they scaled it down. And Romero was right when he said, "I still did the movie I intended to. I just took out a lot of the extravagant stuff." Which Day is a an amazing film, and it almost becomes, in terms of acting, becomes like an Italian zombie film because of all the eye popping acting and the overacting, right? Whoa, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's unrestrained gore. Even to this day, there are moments in it which kind of make me go, ugh. Like, when Dr. Frankenstein has those things lying around his lab, but some of it still looks really amazing to my eyes to this day. I wince a little bit. Here's a little story. Al Cleaver from Zombie? He was at a convention, and I think they got together with Richard Johnson, who was Dr. Menard in Zombie, and they went up to Judge Romero. I think that was in Al Cleaver's autobiography. And they came up and said, "Yo, what's up, Mr. Romero? We are like the guys from the ripoff movie from like Zombie 2." And apparently Romero was like not really keen on interacting with them, even though he does know of the existence of those movies. I mean, he did know, but I don't think he was very, according to Al Cleaver, he wasn't really having none of that bonding. So this is why I find it curious that he's adopted the Italian attitude with all the screaming and yeah. Al Cleaver is so full of stories. The guy is cool. And I like it how the radio news bulletins from Night of the Living Dead, some of it has been like almost word for word copied into Zombie 3, like the Bruno Mattei movie. Some of it is like slightly adapted. And then in City of the Living Dead, there is like a news bulletin which also is heavily based on this. So it's like such a template for a lot of stuff. Al Cleaver rules, man. Yeah, I mean, I love Romero and I love Al Cleaver, and I don't think there was like any, uh, big problem, but there wasn't like a buddy buddy moment either. They didn't go out and get drunk together, which, yeah, it's a shame for us fans, but yeah, Al Cleaver is he's been in so many cool movies. When I first saw The Crazies, I was really surprised because this is like the cornerstone movie because you got the guy what was his name? Richard Franz, who's in Dawn later, and then you got Richard Liberty, who's gonna be like in Day. So that's like a nice triangle. Then there's a few other faces in the movie, like Lynn Laurie, and wow, The Crazies is another one which is real underrated. I like the technical, like the shots are very simple. It just kind of like tripods the camera, and it's very static, like a student movie or something. But then the editing is really frantic, and there is so many cuts in that film. It's just dazzling. It's like an Eisenstein movie or something. That would have been hilarious. Hal Cleaver in Land of the Dead. Yeah. Yeah, I think Dwayne Jones is like the least black exploitation black actor I can think of, to be honest. He's so just I don't know. He's got so much class. He's like royalty or something. Well, you see, extended version. I mean, I think. Uh, wait, Liberty. Wait, Liberty is Dr. Logan. I think we're mixing them up now, aren't we? Because when we're speaking the extended version, are we speaking like the can version, the longest one? This is where like Rhodes pops up, Joe Pilato pops up on that one. But I don't think I ever spotted Richard Liberty in Dawn, unless we unless we mean the other guy, Richard Franz, the guy with the eye patch, who's like the scientist in the Crazies, who's got the antidote and never gets to give it to anybody. The first time I saw Dawn, it was the canned cut, and I didn't know there was any other cut. So for a long time, that was the only version I saw, which has almost no gobbling music, and has lots of extended stuff. And there is like a great bit where they're like Flyboy is like on the typewriter, and the music goes really moody, and it's like one of my favorite. It's like becomes like a family meltdown drama for the silent montage, which is my favorite bit of Dawn of the Dead, which isn't in the other versions, I don't think. Yeah, Rhodes is in that. He's like also like really mean in Dawn, isn't he? He's like one of those kind of paramilitary guys there. He's so I always saw him because that's the can version, and I always presumed that that's that he's in every version. I only saw the zombie cut, which is like the European one, like a couple of years ago for the first time, and now that's all we got here, because now there is the 4K. Then they brought it briefly, like somebody like even screened a 35 millimeter copy of that European the Argento cut. So I got to see that, and there is a lot of differences. And like Argento kept some blurry, out of focus shots, which Romero has cut. So I found it very interesting. He left some blatantly unfocused bits in there. Oh man! And see, this bit is completely stolen in Hell of the Living Dead. Like we had a cadaver with like a quadruple amputation, no arms or legs. Well, it's not embarrassing. I'm actually planning on reviewing, like making like a big review. Like the first Resident Evil, I that was actually my first ever sorry, first ever DVD. That was Resident Evil, and I love that film. I've never, I don't think I watched any of the sequels all the way through. I tried the second one, but I'm not interested. But yeah, the first movie there was actually quite a good score, and it was a little bit channeling a little bit Romero, kind of within the limitations of like Columbia Pictures Sony production. So it was a good one. That's actually also a German produced movie. They don't like you know they don't they kind of hide it, but if you look at the end credits, there is like it was. I think it was partially made in Germany, and they just obviously they hired the actors kind of up front to make it look like an international production. I haven't seen the new one. I've heard good things about it. I will check it out, but man, you see, with me, the thing is, if I like a movie like Night of the Living Dead, I'll just go and rewatch this one, and I will miss out on newer films because I'm so loyal. If I like a movie, I really stand by it, and I will come back to it again and again. But yeah, I'm curious to watch Raccoon City, and I'm glad to hear, Danny, that you also find it worth the look. Well, Romero was supposed to direct, wasn't he? I think he directed parts of the animated sequences for the Resident Evil game, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think he went to Japan and did some stuff there, which was only like a Capcom kind of commercial or something. So he definitely was involved in some ways, but yeah. I think he was thankful to that movie because it kind of helped him get back in saddle with like land eventually and get back on the map even for slightly more underwhelming movies. But I think he was happy that Resident Evil paved the way for his update of the. Oh, Anchor Bay. Oh, those Anchor Bay DVDs made me so happy. I've still got a few. I wish they were still around. Damn it! That's like probably my favorite DVD label. It's just all the extras and everything. Was just perfect. The menus. That's like the happiest time I ever was as a collector when they were like really active. Great, great stuff. Yeah, Danny, you've been posting some good reviews lately. You've been posting like stuff like the British movie with Tim Roth, which is a really cool film. I've been meaning to tell you, like Made in what was it? Made in Britain or something? The Skinhead movie. It's a really good one. He's Tim Roth is just so good in that one. He just plays like he's a bit like Beavis and Butthead in one, but really violent and really, really dumb. Have you ever seen a movie he made with Buddy Giovinazzo? There's like a movie where Tim Roth comes out of like prison and goes back home, and there is like a couple of other good actors like James Russo, and it's a bit of a slow-moving film. It's not like the best, but it's interesting. Yeah, No Way Home, man. That's right. That's such a good movie. Yeah. Yeah, the director, he lives here in the neighborhood. I've never met him, but I know he does. A friend of mine has met him, and yeah, he's a really nice guy. I think he's married to like a German lady. That's why he's out here in Berlin. I think he occasionally directs like German TV series or something to make some money. Don't take my word for it. I can get things mixed up really badly. But Danny, who's your favorite actor? Is it like Tim Roth or John James Russo? Probably Tim Roth, I guess. Yeah, that's right. He's a great guy. Yeah, and I also yeah, I also heard that he's actually keen on sharing his movies, and obviously his first movie, Kambodshock. Oh my God, what a life-changing film! Yeah, I think John Russo is like the guy who did Night of the Living Dead, and James Russo is the guy we're talking about. But I'm terrible with names. And Carmen Russo, I think her name was Carmen Russo. She was like in the movie called Patrick Still Lives, which is like a sleazy Italian movie, but I don't think any of them are related because such a common name. Oh man, names. Yeah, Maniac 2. I still haven't seen that short thing he did. Is it any good? Resurrection? I don't think I know that film. The movie Resurrection I know is like a pretty cool Seven ripoff with like Highlander actor Christopher Lambert, and it's like you know, it's like a Seven clone. Which Resurrection are you talking about? Ah, right. This is the recent one. I saw the trailer when I was at the movies, and it looks so sad. Is this the one with like at Ibiza? There is like an island or something. He looks really kind of moody in that one. I was kind of a bit reluctant because it's been a sad year, guys, like worldwide, I think. So I couldn't stomach if this is the movie you mean. Oh man, Joe Spinell, that guy. Now they're burning the zombies. Now they're smashing them with Molotovs. I like that bit a lot. It's just somehow so cruel because the zombies kind of become very vulnerable at this point. They actually run around and they're like fretting about, flailing their arms on fire, which is you sadly feel for them for a few brief moments. Gridlock, that's such an underrated movie. That's a light-hearted film, but even though it deals with some really grimy subjects, it's a bit like a funny, happier version. And John Sayles is a cop in Gridlock. John Sayles is another great, underrated filmmaker. That's somebody I aspire to like. I don't know, someone I'd like to chat or meet. Somebody like John Sayles is uh, just a great filmmaker and an actor, everything. Gridlock, yeah, with Tupac, yeah. Well, Naked Zombies, I think that's a commercial title for a movie. If somebody like Full Moon or whatever wants to like make another quick, turnaround, I think if you title your movie Naked Zombies, I'm sure it's just bound to attract a few casual viewers. Yeah, but that's a less enticing title because stripper kind of it's not quite doesn't necessarily mean they're like nude, and you might have to pay and blah. So yeah. Well, Full Moon wasn't always. They used to be all right, I think. Nowadays, I'm not sure what they're up to. I mean, I'm not really like very. I've not been keeping in close touch with their output. You see, Puppet Master series, I'm really interested to get into those. I've not seen any of those. Subspecies, Puppet Master, Dolls, I haven't seen any of those. The only full movies I've seen like a handful. I think there is a movie called In, what's it called? Inquisitor and Inquisition. It was like Lance Henriksen was in it. He was like the prominent. I think that was a Full Moon production. And I've seen like Cellar Dweller, movies like that. I think those were from Charles Band. I might be wrong. Yeah, they repackaged Jess Franco for the states. That's good because those movies were only available from the Swiss label, and there was no other way you could see them in the world. Which is it's great that Full Moon did that. Wizard, yeah, those big boxes. Oh, they're about to get fried to a crisp. Boom. Yeah, there goes the happy couple. I mean, this is where the film again becomes not such a happy experience. I mean, I really don't know how this movie must have worked back in like 1968. It must have been a real kick in the guts. Daytime ended. Well, I don't think I know that one. I heard they're making like really, really absurdly cheap like remakes or knockoffs of like From Beyond and those kind of Lovecraft sort of uh, adaptations. Like they try and replicate some of the props, but I haven't seen any of that. Oh, 70s sci-fi can be really good. And yeah, what's wrong with cheese? A bit of cheese is good for you. Da, 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 da. Yeah, board up the door. I know that Judge Romero says that Ben isn't meant to be like a positive, isn't supposed to be like the hero guy, but still, when he kind of gets his hands on Cooper, I think most of us rejoice. I don't know. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, well, it's only fair that he like has his revenge because I mean, come on, the guy left him there just to get yeah. Curse of Reanimator. Well, that sounds very, very yeah, very full moon, I guess. Charles Band. Oh man, this music is great when they're eating the guts and there is like this buzzing kind of electronic music. It's really good. Some of the tracks they used is it sounds very fresh 2022. Yeah. Yeah, the soundtrack is awesome. I also really like all the mall music from Dawn and all of that random music. Like I think I actually have like associations in my mind when I think about Dawn, like but especially because I kind of the first 10 times I saw it was the can cut, so I have like a different association. Like in the beginning, when she like wakes up with a funny carpet behind you on the wall, the first shot of the movie, like it has completely different score. The can version, it has like a kind of just library like strings or something, and it doesn't have the goblin going da. And every time I see it now in this new 4K, it's like I'm always surprised, like, oh, Goblin up front. Wow. Barbara has amazing hairstyle. Amazing. Lots of hair. I always think the demons, the Lamberto Bava film, grew out of this character of the character dynamic in Night of the Living Dead because he obviously have the Tony character kind of lead the pack in the fight against the demons, and he's like this kind of proletarian guy, but he's like whoa, he's like hard and he's courageous, and the people follow him. The Outpost, is it like the Zombies in the Snow? I haven't seen those. Like I only like the old ones, like Oasis of the Zombies, Lake or Zombie Lake. I haven't seen any of the new ones because they all look like video games to me. When I see the trailers, if it's like they have really good makeup, but I find the way those movies are directed, I guess, is like there is not enough atmosphere. What I like about a good zombie movie is like you don't have to like have 50 zombies like going. "Rrr." It can be two or three, but if you put them in the right position and kind of frame them right, so you build into this, like yeah, like the older movies. I think the nowadays the zombie movies have lost the charm. They're not creepy anymore. They're just very realistic makeup. Like they have those lenses and good scar effects. Like, but it's just all about I don't know. What do you think? Frankenstein's Army. I think I've seen Frankenstein's Army. Is it the movie with like Aaron Eckhart? I think if this is the movie, then I've seen that one. Dead Snow. Thank you. Yeah, I think they're similar. I confuse the hell out of them. I even, it's more atmospheric. Oh, that's good. If it's atmospheric, I might give it a watch. I mean, I really wish there would be good zombie movies nowadays. I mean, maybe I'm in the minority, but I find that the really recent ones are not very. They don't have a heart. They're like just movies. Found footage. That's like one of my least. One of the genres I'm least attracted to, least knowledgeable about is like wreck movies or any of that found footage. I'm clueless. I'm not sure how those movies even. No. Outpost is way better than. No. There is like three parts. Well, see, I miss out a lot because I'm like And did those movies come out in cinemas, or how'd you even? Because I guess I'm not in the right groups. I don't subscribe to the right channels. I don't even know about these movies. Like I live under a rock. Frankenstein. No, that's a different movie. Obviously, yeah. World War Two. Ah, that's Laurie Cardill's dad now, as the journalist, as the anchorman or whatever you call it. I can't believe this movie's already. Wow, it's nearly finished. Such a good movie. They're dead. They're all messed up. Straight to DVD. All right, that's where they belong. Well, I have a few movies which are straight to DVD, and I think they're really good. But those ones, I don't know. Well, I think I told you. I find that that gruesome makeup isn't something I need. Like Shockwaves movies like that. I still find okay, but more recent ones in the same genre, really, I find wrong. It's just too much shaky cam. Also, when I watch the trailers, when I see like it goes, oh, sorry. Shaun of the Dead. Well, I wouldn't call that modern anymore. Even I remember that one, so that's not very modern. The other ones, yeah, I trust you because they're probably all Asian films, and you know your way around Asian films way better than anybody. I mean, better than me for sure. World War Z. I haven't seen that one. Yummy. Okay. Dead Alive. Dead Alive. Hang on. I'm not even sure I know which one you mean because that I might know it under a different title. I know Dead and Buried. I know Buried Alive. What's Dead Alive? 1992? Oh, yeah, Peter Jackson's. Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. Now I see. All right. Brain Dead. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, because I got it as Brain Dead. That's, yeah. Isn't there like a World War Z Part 2 already? Oh no. Oh, the zombies are busting in through the windows, man. Whoa. Uh, yeah, Cooper, but this is again, this is another interesting tendency in Romero movies. The characters who are right are not nice characters. Like Cooper, he's basically right about the basement being the safest place. But you'd rather die than go down there with that guy, right? It's the same like Richard Franz in the Crazies. He's like so conceited, and he's kind of the same character in Dawn. Like he's so full of himself. You'd rather let him die than actually let him develop the cure, and because they're not nice characters, even though they have the knowledge of the truth and yeah. Yeah, CGI again. CGI. I mean, yeah, something I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, I like some. There is good ways you can utilize CGI, but in a zombie movie, like like Rob Zombie films, he uses a lot of CGI splatters and things, and I find that really kind of detracts from the movie. Like his first one, the House of Thousand Corpses, was kind of all practical, I think, and then there was like a sequel, and there was just lots of green screen and lots of things where it looked really, really fake, I thought. And I kind of lost interest soon after. Cooper. You. Ah, Ah, there's Johnny coming back. All right. See, you have a very good memory of the remake. I love Savini's remake. I wish he'd made it, another two or three of those. I think he was on the cusp of becoming a great, successful filmmaker, but then the 90s was just the wrong time for that. And then the 90s just robbed us of a lot of potentially cool things. Because, like in Italy, there was that movie Cemetery Man, and in the States, obviously, there was the remake. And then it just went nowhere, right? This whole good zombie genre kind of vanished. I just think Savini is just such a figure. I liked him even in Children of the Living Dead. There's like the beginning of the movie where he's like this kind of zombie hunter guy. That's pretty cool. Well, I mean, yeah, when they say flop, I'm not even sure how they define what's a flop, what's not a flop. I'm Yeah, you're actually lucky you saw it in the theater. I saw some of these movies in retrospective, but originally, like I think the first Romero I saw on original release was Land of the Dead, and that's not as highly regarded a movie as some of the other ones. Yeah, Savini, he's tough. He's yeah. Oh no! Whoa, Zombie Girl. I'm sure that the two must have met. I'm sure. World leaders. Well, yeah, I can just imagine that's one hell of a future. Probably a lot less boring than the present leaders we've got. Yeah, well, that's a good movie. Bob with his squeaky. You know that the dude who played the Bob, he's like obviously nowadays, whatever, he's like middle aged now. He's supposed to be like a martial arts expert. I think he's supposed to be quite tough as well. So yeah, he could probably be a good, uh, you know, member on the crew. Manchester Morgue, that's a great film. That's one of the most outstanding, yeah, Living Dead movies. Very sad finale, great film. That see what they did with the thing Manchester Morgue is that they took the template and then they made the characters likable. They made they made us root for the guys a little bit more in that one, and obviously it's in color. Well, I envy people who can watch the Blu-ray extras because I'm still stuck with my DVD. I had like the Arrow Blu-ray, which had like DVD quality, was like so fuzzy. It was like all splotchy. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it had like a Bob interview on the extras. It might have done. I rarely watch those extras. I might listen to the commentary a little bit, but that's about it. House by the Cemetery. That's a very atmospheric film. Yeah, a lot of them were awful because they just were kind of yeah. It was just too early. They jumped in so early, and yeah, I agree with you. And even the artwork was a little bit, on really on the terrible side. Like I don't know if you've seen like Bay of Blood. The new artwork they created for Bay of Blood was one of the worst I could think of. The Mario Baba movie. Oh my god, Danny. Oh, man. Yeah, the original artwork. What you mean with like the hand sticking out the blood or something? That's a good one. That's the one I like. But then they created a new one, which is I don't know how to describe it. It just looked poor to me. I'm no artist, but yeah, the eye floating in the sky. I think that's a different movie, maybe. I can think of like of a dozen horror movies with the eye floating in the sky. Like The Visitor was one of those, and City of the Living Dead had like an eye in the sky in the French poster. Eye floating in the sky. That's intriguing. I have to check it out afterwards. What was? Yeah, okay. See, well, this is interesting. Twitch of the Death Nerve. Oh, that's a good commercial title, I guess. Oh, they're gonna shoot Ben in a minute. He's not got. He's not got long. Oh man, he does look very tired. It's been a long night. I think they cast him very well in the remake. I think that was a very good choice. They went with Tony Todd. He's just epic. Whoops. There. I wonder if that was around the same time as Candyman. I think I was watching some interviews with Tony Todd, and he was saying like Candyman, he it was not so easy with the producers. Like he wasn't really feeling all that comfortable some of the time on making the original Candyman movie. The blood pressure guy, the guy with the sombrero, right? He's a little blood pressure guy. Oh man, this is hilarious. He outlived them all. Yeah, the stills are amazing. It's like one of those classic cinema montages. I agree with you. It's really riveting. It's a great way to close the movie. It's like one of the best still montages. Like next to what was the movie Point Blank? You know the one they remade with Mel Gibson later. There was like a good still montage at the beginning, which kind of blends into like normal live action footage and stuff. So that was I love I love still montages. Some of the best movies have intros like that. Those hooks and everything. Ah, yeah, legit. See, I've seen that, but I think 12 Monkeys was better. That's just me. La Jetée, or whatever they call it in French. The jetty. Le Jetée. And the music again goes real creepy when this montage happens in the end of Night of the Living Dead. They save some of the best electronic chilly stuff for the opening and the closing. It becomes like almost science fiction. Great stuff. Powerful. Very grainy and those kind of Ken Burns techniques before Ken Burns. Oh, the credits, man. All those names. And I wonder if Rudy Ritchie was in that one. Mark Ritchie's in it. R.J. Ritchie is probably Rudy Ritchie, who wrote The Result is Vanilla, right? Kind of crazy. It's a very, very good ending. It's a bloody amazing ending to a very special film. Now they're gonna cremate the guy. And Bill Hinzman's next to him. I forget that they're actually lying like next to each other on the pile. Well, it's been fun. It's been lots of fun watching this together, guys. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Flesh Eater. We brought that up earlier, Danny. I don't know if you were there. We were like discussing the merits of that film, where he always rips off like their bras and things, I think, and tries to molest them a little bit. At his age, yeah. Yeah. Catch you guys later. Bye bye. Night of the Living Dead.